I'm just going to make a recording of this as I go. Two-hand voicings. Start on page 34. So, here we go. Check this out. We're doing left hand, dominant 7, and C. C7. So, 7, 3, 5. And just from the very beginning, again, you know, we got to these from like major triad, which is 1, 3, 5. And we're dropping the root down to the 7, and that creates a nice rootless voicing of dominant 7. You can do the same thing with a major 7, a minor 7, a minor 6, a minor 7 flat 5, a diminished 7, etc. Right? Just work with the dominant 7 now, just to get the comfortable sound here. And when we transferred the left hand up to play left hand chords. So now you got left hand chords, now you need a bass player, right? Right. And then you got your right hand free to play melodies. Etc. And that's really jazzy, but that's kind of the most common context for left-hand chords is jazz music, right? So now instead of just playing right-hand melodies, oftentimes you might just want to extend the chord and make it a bigger chord in jazz. So the first way that you can think of doing that is just adding the right-hand octave up here. Let's see. And you could use that right hand on any note. Any note that works. D, E. F doesn't work so well because it creates this minor ninth. F sharp. Whoa. G sharp's not going to work so well because it creates that. That you want can work. So, and now you get etc. Alright? And so you're really getting into jazz comping. And just check out this second example here. You can move your right hand around melodically too, like that's, you know, anything. So we have now completed the journey to completely flip your right and left hand functionally, geographically on the piano. Whereas before you had octaves in your left hand, chords in your right hand, now you have the chord in your left hand, octave in the right hand. Okay? And you're just in a totally different context, all right, with the instrument. Just changing your hands, changing the register of where you're playing, change the context. Now you need a bass player. So I'm going to go through the jazz 2/5s now. You all remember what we need to do for 2/5, right?
Drop the sizzle down.
That's right, baby. Drop the sizzle down and hizzle. So if we start from a D minor 7 as the 2 chord, going to a G7 as a 5 chord, and resolving to a C major 7 as our 1. That's 2, 5, 1. You can see the sizzle drops down to hizzle, and then you get the 1 major 7. Alright? And we'll just give it some standard jazz rhythms. And what I'm going to do is put an octave up in my right hand. I'm actually going to add a note too, because it just fills it out really nice. 1, 5, 8. Got big fat power chord up here. And I'm just going to leave this through because it's a common tone through the whole thing. But you don't have to. This is the Charleston rhythm. Bebop rhythm gives you an anticipation on the 4. 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry. Classic swing rhythm actually does a syncopation on the end of 3 and then hits on 1. So this is more like Duke Ellington era and even Count Basie, things like that. 1, 2, 3. That's just the difference stylistically in jazz between the older styles where they're hitting on 1 more and styles kind of past the 1950s where we start hitting on the end of 4 a lot more. So just a little jazz tidbit. All right, if you're into jazz, I recommend you go further with that, mainly by transposing it. Do that in different keys and whatnot. If you're not into jazz, well, there's a window into it, and that's enough. All right. If you ever want to create a jazzy piano part, now you can. All right.